All right, welcome to part three. If everybody could go back to the forensics resources folders, let's click on that lower link, the link to the library final site page. Now, let me just say something on behalf of Mrs. Dobbs. If you folks are not looking at this page at least once a week, every single time you have any research to do, every single time you have an idea for a book you want to read, you guys are missing out because this is a fantastic top of the line resource. Everything that you could possibly want is in one of these magical databases, including how to make screencasts, which I learned from the brilliant Mrs. Dobbs. So, let's start here. Let's pretend that we are doing extemporaneous speaking or an oratory, and we need good information. Where should we start? Let's see. How about, let's select www.wikipedia. No! Don't do it. Oh, I'm just going to Google President Obama and education and take the first article that shows up and print it out. No! Go into the online databases. Why the online databases? Does everybody remember? Are you authoritative, reliable? U. Forgot what the U stands for. But you better believe it's something important. Let's go. Here we have a lot of choices. You can go into Gale Online Resource because they have magazines, newspapers, reference books, and more for all subjects. You can go into EBSCOhost because they have magazines, newspapers, reference books, and more for all subjects. Hey, you could use one of the mobile apps for the Gale databases if you wanted to search for articles while you're riding around in your mom's car. We're going to stay away from the encyclopedias for anything but very, very general knowledge. What we want are magazines, newspapers. That's what we need for extemporaneous speaking files, and that's what we need to find great current information for your public address category. So let's click here on the Gale Online Resources. Please enter your library's password. I believe it was jackets. Let's give it a try. It sure was jackets. All right, folks, so here are all the Gale databases. As you can see, we have a million of them. Gale Virtual Reference Library. This is reference books. We're really not interested in books. What we want are magazines. We don't need health reference necessarily. General reference, newspapers, reference books, magazines, and trade publications, articles on current events, pop culture, business, and industry trends. That is what we need. And you can read through the rest of these and see if there's stuff that you're interested in, stuff that might pertain to your oratory or extemporaneous speaking. But let's stick right now with that one. Let's also look at the junior edition, student edition, because that has magazines in it. We're going to unclick academic 1 file because that's going to find some stuff that's a little too sophisticated for you. Nothing in Spanish is necessary. All right, so let's pretend that we do. Let's pretend that we do have the desire to find out something about President Obama and his education policy. We've now narrowed the search. Oh, popular searches, Barack Obama. So let's see. Let's put in Barack Obama, education. How about policy? How about reform? And let's see what that brings up. School Reform, New York Times Magazine. That is a wonderfully authoritative source. And here we have some information about that particular article. Now, this is something that this one is not going to be particularly useful because it doesn't have the full text. So let's go back. However, we now know where it is. Whoops. Oh, you know what the problem is. I clicked on the wrong thing. Fail sauce. Let's click on the article and not the magazine. Sorry, that was a fail. Here we have the full text. And you can read it. You can print it. You can put it in your file. Let's go back and search one of the other databases. EBSCOhost has a similar search engine, but it's slightly different and slightly more fun. I'm going to click on EBSCOhost. User ID DCDS. Jackets. All right, middle and upper schools research databases. Let's take a look in here. Let's click on School Edition. Let's click on Newspaper Source and then continue. All right, let's see what we can find. Barack Obama, education, policy. Let's see what we can find. Boy, howdy. Look at all of these articles. Interesting, something from the Irish Times, an overseas perspective. That would be fascinating to read. How about, let's see, immigration policy. Here we go, education policy. Faces an enthusiasm, teacher revolt. Where's this from? Washington Post. That's an authoritative source. Great information. Yeah, okay. We acknowledge differing views and interpretations among some education labor leaders around the administration's education agenda. Peter Cunningham, a department spokesman, said in a statement, but on the whole, our partnership with labor is having a positive impact on student learning and the teaching profession. We look forward to continuing to work with the NEA, that's the National Education Association, in the months and years ahead to further advance education reform. Lots of information. That's a quote that you could use in an extemp speech. You could use that to broaden your search results. Let's see what we can find about Barack Obama and the NEA. That's the teachers' unions. Whoa, budget cuts? Sounds controversial. Wow. All right, and it's pulling up really great authoritative sources, Washington Post, Newsday. Now, let's say you want to do a little traditional searching. Don't just go to Google unless it's to look up, how about U.S. News and World Report. That is an authoritative magazine, as is Time Magazine, as is Newsweek. You could find some partisan magazines like The Advocate or The American Spectator for one side or the other. Ask your parents what political magazines they like to read. U.S. News and World Report. Here we're going to know that the articles are respectable, authoritative, reliable. Hey, look, there's a whole section for education, but this is about the U.S. News and World Report's ranking and research. Let's see if they have anything on Obama, education reform. Go. He's losing in Latino votes. His jobs legislation includes $60 billion for education. That cannot be found. Bummer sauce. That would have been a great article. At least we know where it is so we can find the copy in our school library or in your local library. Obama's No Child waiver proposals rile conservatives. Apparently there's some controversy in there. Start scanning articles. This is how you learn things. All right, so that's how you find some interesting articles, authoritative resources for your work on a public address or extemporaneous event. That's the end of the screencasts. At this point, your substitute teacher is going to ask you to get into partners. Partners means two people. If there's an odd number, there may be one group of three. All right, but I don't need groups of 5. Get into partners. You can either both have a laptop or one have a laptop and the other don't. And the sub is going to pass out the scavenger hunt, which is on my desk in the upper right-hand corner. And read the instructions. This is what you're going to do. You're going to look for those things on the internet here. Look, you can look at it right here. This is what it looks like. So the first thing you're going to look for is a serio-comic duo for 2 female performers in which at least one could use a dialect. That's an accent. All right. Once you've found one, write down the title, the author, the source, and check the box. The source would be the link, where you found it. All right. When you have found everything, and there's one repeat question, so just ignore that. When you have found everything on the list, hand it to the sub. The sub will write the time that you turned it in the corner and initial it, so I know that's authoritative. I will check them when I get back, and the fastest partnership will win some sort of prize. So I hope you have a good time doing this assignment. I hope you all behave while I'm gone. Feel free to, over the weekend, start looking for pieces that you might be interested in. I'm not going to have your categories to you until I get back, but if there's something you're particularly interested in, I'm available via email all weekend. Have a great time at Bondfest, and I will see you when you get back. Take care.